Hello. Welcome to the 8th part of the God's Gambit. At the beginning of this part we see that other players says, yeah, there's no way Choi Yul meekly turned himself in. Physiognomy is part of science, and that bastard has the face of a villain. Hey, pack your things. Let's return to the city for now. Are you crazy? The Amugi is there right now. If we don't do anything, we're going to lose everything to Choi Yul again. Whether there's an Amugi or a snake bastard, who cares? Amugi is standing in front of Choi Yul. Emoji uses his poison and says, Choi Yul. Amugi thinks, how dare he turn me into a tool? I'll kill him. Amugi bring out his slingshot and thinks, I will kill him. He hits the griffin. Griffin eats the shot. Amugi thinks, what's that griffin? It's swallowing Choi Yul's special poison bomb. Choi Yul thinks, my poison. He's drink it all? System says, Monster Elite. The Emperor Griffin's main diet is deadly poisonous monsters such as Basilisk and the Hydra. It possesses poison tolerance on the level of a boss monster. Imugi thinks, an elite that's not even a boss? Choi Yul appears beside him and says, are you curious? Why your poison doesn't work at all? I'll give it to you as homework, so try to solve it. Instead of bullying other people, Choi Yul hits him with a really strong finger flick. Everyone is really surprised to see his power. Choi Yul says, I, Choi Yul, will monopolize the desert god of gold. If you offer treasures to the desert god of gold, I will offer you as a sacrifice of sovereignty for all future missions. Try your best to struggle for the remaining missions. He gets on the griffin and flies away. Haija says, Choi Yul. Seo says, that brat. They all think that he is terrible at acting. After that we see at the treasure search mission urgent meeting, Haija says, for the remaining 1 week, we need to find more treasures than Choi Yul's god of gold. To do that, we need your cooperation. Seo says, although we know that Choi Yul is the greatest calamity, we can't just stay constricted and be unable to do anything. Their way to overcome calamities is the same as on Earth. To work together. This obvious method has been the most definite method that humanity has used to defeat calamities no matter the generation. Everything related to Choi Yul, the other world's mission, and returning to our original world. In order to defeat all of those calamities, lend us your strength. Imugi is in jail. He still has his item with him, and he is really angry. Mission Guide 1, City Alliance Supply, 1 Nest. Using hostile organisms and monsters on the ground as the base. Targeting monsters become easy, as the forces can be seen with the naked eye. The value of the treasure was not high, but occasionally, they would hit a jackpot. 2 Dungeon. The generic term for buildings, caves, or basements that cannot be fully seen with the naked eye. Although the value of the treasure is often high, there are many variables, and due to the high level of threat, entering alone becomes forbidden. It is recommended for the military and trained outers to cooperate and enter. After that we see they are filling the treasure in a truck, and says, this is the last of it, right? Hurry up and load it, let's go. There are 3 trucks full of treasure. Some flying monsters seize them. The players are protecting the treasures. They reach the city border. There are armed men ready to shoot. They say, commence fire. Open up the path for the vehicle. Trucks enter the city. And 3. Appraisal Center. The location where treasures are stored while being appraised. The military, police, and private security guards are stationed here to assure safety. A doll wakes up. They say, it's up. System says, treasure. Idol of true god legendary rank treasure, worth 1,000. A doll made in the shape of a god, has no special abilities. He gets really excited and says, it's a legendary rank treasure. You're mine. They write down their score on a board. Choi Yul has 38,552,895 points, and the city has 336.763 points. Commander says, yup, the difference is not decreasing at all. He thinks, the jungle and ravings have been almost completely swept. Commander thinks, what's left is the desert, where Choi Yul is, and the last map, which we haven't been to yet. They are areas that we postponed going to because of the high risk. It's possible now. There is a hair on the table. Seo says, so this is the Choi Yul that we had arrested? Dushik says, We were completely fooled. If he had taken out the desert god of gold from the beginning, people would not have moved. Since up to that point, most people were afraid of Choi Yul. He used himself as bait to make the people move, by causing an outrage that overcomes their fear, that is. Seo breaks the table and says, "We can't leave this be." If he uses that method, no matter how this mission ends, Choi Yul will become even more isolated from the city. Dushik thinks, I kind of understand the type of person Choi Yul is now. He doesn't only play the card in front of you, but rather, he holds all the cards while considering the entire game. If so, we require the people to unite and strengthen, because he's definitely prepared cards in the case of the victory of the people. And it won't be an obvious card like gather our strength and find treasures. Jaiwoo is inside the forest and sees a rock. She says, the treasure-finding mission can also be cleared like this, huh? Their drawing shows that if you kill the god of gold you win. She says, this info. It'll sell it for a very expensive price. After that we see Seo fighting in the desert. Last day of the treasure hunting mission. Seo is fighting with Choi Yul, desert god of gold puberty, treasure worth 38,552,895. Participants, 1. Choi goes flying because of Seo's wind attack. Seo says, regardless of level, weight is another story. Haiju appears behind Choi Yul. City god of gold treasures worth 37,001,970. Participants, 156,342. Choi dodges and deflects all of their attacks easily. Choi threw his sword. Imugi is also there fighting Choi Yul. Time left until the mission ends. 24 minutes, 33 seconds. Imugi makes a big block of poison. Sword slows down. Choi Yul says, okay, there's not much time left. Work harder. Those of the City Alliance. After that we see 4 days ago. Haija says, I was so surprised. That is the Imugi's identity. Would be a high schooler who is still wet behind the ears. His name is Kong Sung-won. Level 24. Imugi says, you're being loud. So can you fuck off? I'll call you if I need you. She says, I'm sorry, but it's my job to surveil you. He says, by yourself? After losing like that, he throws her spear really fast. She says, I'm faster than you ability to activate your magic pearl. Your body's just that of a normal human, right? You must have heard from my underlings. Haija says, yeah, they spilled so easily. You must not have been a very respected leader. He says, I can't blame the survival tactics of the weak who try to live by sticking close to the strong. If I go out and step on them again, they'll lick my feet once more. That's what humans are like. She says, I get it. You are going through 8th grade syndrome. He says, my magic pearl is a mythical rank item. It's still in development though, so I got wrecked by Choi Yul. After I finish developing it to its rightful mythical rank, even Choi Yul won't be able to stop it. Which means that when time passes, this city will be mine. She thinks, for sure, if it hadn't been for Choi Yul, everyone would have been in danger. But he's saying it's not fully developed yet? This brat. Is it okay to just leave him be? After that we see some people are talking and Jaiwoo is walking by. She says, in just a few days, it turned into a beautiful city that's filled with fighting spirit. If so, it'll be difficult to sell information for a lot. At times like this, connections are the best. She calls Haiju. Haija says, hey Jaiwoo, you were safe. I was worried. She says, yeah, it's possible, but I'm doing something. What? Really? Okay, I'll put in a favor. Imugi is doing something. Jaiwoo thinks, I just asked her to introduce me to someone whom I can sell the info to. But these are all the big shots in the city. Kwan says, before we begin the discussions, is it okay for the Imugi to be here? He says, yeah. Well, you all are okay? Commander says, I called him. The Imugi is definitely an outstanding force of ours. Not to mention, having Haiju as his guard is a huge loss, since we need to utilize all of our forces right now. Seo says, but still can we just have that crazy dog? Lee Chulman says, let's just listen for now, Yunseok. Seo says, yes, Sunbae. She shows them images. Commander says, if the information you brought is true, we can kill the god of gold before it becomes an adult. Although there is the diabolical difficulty of having to get through Choi Yul, I think it's worth trying. That's why I want to use the Amugi. He says, see, the city needs me in the end. Then shall we make a deal? After that we see there is a big tornado. Jack says, don't we need to increase the sacrifices of sovereignty? The Demon King's punishments are continuing. Choi Yul says, not. The largest number of citizens need to earn rewards. The people I said is sacrifices this time are those who unluckily entered dangerous dungeons, or those who are headed towards cursed treasures. And they were people I need to isolate before this mission. We have guests. Haiju, Seo, Imugi, and Quan come toward Choi Yul. Quan says, target destination has arrived. Prepare to fight. They are also army people. They say, everyone prepares to fight. Jack stands up. Choi Yul says, whoa, whoa, not yet. From the old times, the last stage has the tradition of sending out the weakest first. Choi Yul sends Griffin. Imugi says, go. My bait. Haiju and Seo jumps. Imugi uses poison. Haiju says, what are you doing? Seo says, I told you. That bastard. They both hit the Griffin. Quan says, get out of the car and hide yourselves. When we find the locations, commence supporting fire. Imugi is hiding and thinks, there's no reason to lose energy right now. He's not the final goal anyway. You'll use me and get Choi Yul's God of Gold? You're wrong. You bastards are the ones being used. Commander is watching them from far away. He says, we wanted to begin with negotiations, but it seems Choi Yul doesn't plan on doing that at all. Commander says, it's begun. Let's go. Driver says, yes, sir. The plan to kill Choi Yul's God of Gold was fake. Of course, if we succeeded, we would win the mission immediately, but it was obviously an impossible feat. The point of this plan was clearly to find the treasure, past the desert sector, to the final sector. When calculating the remaining time left for the mission, rather than coming back and forth several times, they needed to go in once and take as many treasures as possible. So they need to deploy as many people as possible. As a result, they couldn't leave a bomb like the Amugi within the weakened city. That's why they used the fake plan to subjugate Choi Yul's God of Gold and removed the Amugi. Commander reaches the final sector and says, what is this? This is the final sector? How is the original world? Earth City here? The 8th part of the God's Gambit ends here. Subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.